My name is Darren Hupke, and this is Pixels and Polygons, part of the Soundstone Network. Welcome to a new episode of Pixels and Polygons. I am Darren Hupke, the host of the show. If you are a returning listener, thank you so much for coming back and checking out another episode. Hopefully this is another entertaining one for you, and I appreciate you for coming back week after week. If you are new, it's a simple pitch. I sit down with a guest each week and I ask them a video game related prompt or question, and we talk about it. It's 20 to 40 minutes or so each episode. This can stem from topics like what's a underappreciated or below average game you love that doesn't get enough attention, or what is your history with video games? When did you start playing and when did you fall in love with them? Or why do you play the games that you play? It could be a lot of different things. The conversations can go in a lot of different directions, but the point is just to have a great and thoughtful conversation that maybe sparks your own ideas or your own interests as a listener to think about your own responses, and hopefully just have some fun along the way. If you like what you hear and you want to support the show, I've got a few different ways you can do that. I have links in the show notes below to everything that I do, and I'll highlight one of those in particular. Beat 'em Up Volume 1 is a love letter to the genre. Volume 1 of the series breaks down the Final Fight franchise and covers the entire series. So you get histories and development details, artwork, screenshots, magazine scans, a lot of artifacts from the era covering every game in the franchise, from the 1989 arcade original all the way up to 2006 and the release of Final Fight Streetwise. There's also chapters that cover where this series is now, its appearances in other properties like Street Fighter, comics, TV shows, cartoons, all those types of things. So if you're a fan of beat 'em ups, if you're a fan of Final Fight, this book has all the history and all the details I hope you will enjoy and love and find something new about one of my favorite franchises of all time. You can buy it physically over on pixelsandpolygons.net, but you can also buy digital copies over on my Patreon shop. Links to all of these will be in the show notes below, but check it out. Beat 'em Up, Volume 1. With that out of the way, we can start the episode right after an ad from one of our Soundstone Network partners.
Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. I'm Nick McConnell, and you caught me reading the instruction booklet for Street Fighter II in preparation for my weekly stream Instruction Derby, where I take a look at the creative, fun, and sometimes bizarre lost art of video game manuals. Did you know that, according to the manual for Street Fighter II on the Super Nintendo, Ryu was born in 1964, making him 62 years young, canonically? Happy birthday, Ryu. You're looking great. Did you also know that, per the manual for Laser Invasion on the Nintendo, the UN enters a conclave in order to select a new commando? Or did you know that the dancing enemies in Super Castlevania are named Paula Abgul and Fred Askare? These important facts and many more are discovered every Wednesday at noon Pacific on Instruction Derby over at internet website twitch.tv/Nick McConnell. Part of the Soundstone Network.
Welcome, everyone, to Pixels and Polygons, a conversational podcast about video games. I am Darren Hupke, and I'm back with a returning guest in a unique way, I guess. It's unique. I can describe it as unique. They've been on the show. Yeah, keep it, ambiguous there so we don't know. They have been on the show in a pairing before, and now is on the show in a solo venture. But it's McKenna from Flashback 64. Hello, McKenna. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing good. How are you?
Yeah, it's been a while. I think the last time we had you as like both you and Goot together, it was a while. It was like last year sometime. So it's been a little while since you've got to be on the show. So yeah, I'm good. It's I just complained to you off mic about what the nightmare of my household is at the moment with children moving rooms, but otherwise life is good. So happy to have you here. It'll be nice to have this conversation, and as well as the question. This is the question for the episode. I'll reveal it later on, but it's one that I made up for like my season 3, quote unquote, season 3 of the show. So it's not one I've gotten to ask a lot. So I'm really kind of excited to hear what this comes from this. But for people who maybe haven't listened to the show or are newer to the show, how about you do a little intro? Tell us who you are, McKenna, what you do, and what people should pay attention and listen to you doing.
Yeah, I'm a co-host of Flashback 64, which is a chronological podcast covering the N64 catalog, as well as some of the 90s history and cultural going-ons. So yeah, we'll talk about movies, shows, music. And that's mostly what I'm doing right now. I have a YouTube channel, which I haven't been uploading to too much recently, but I like to cover indie games sometimes. A lot of like cozy or like sandbox type of indie games. Something I like to cover is this game called Core Keeper, which is kind of similar to like Minecraft, Terraria. Yeah, those are the main things I do, I'd say.
Yeah, you're also a published writer, having written in Retro Game Zine, writing about the one of the original cozy games, the original Harvest Moon. You contributed an article for my zine last year. And then Flashback 64, what is also cool, like listening to the show, I've been listening to for a while, but how you all have now branched out, like, you know, you've done PlayStation episodes that I've gotten to be guests on. It's really cool just to hear about more games of that era to kind of like put into context, like the ins and outs of what was going on, like with the 64 and in that era, with not just on that platform. And then even your Patreon bonus show, the Flashback 8, where you and Gu have been covering like the original like launch lineup, and I guess moving through like the NES library as well too. But those are really nice, like little just bite-sized conversations, and you rate the games on a unique scale. You know, it may not be academically designed, but vibes is one of the ratings that you give a game as well too, which is really cool. So if you like the sound of any of those things, I'll put links in the show notes to the show. But obviously Flashback 64 being part of the Soundstone network, we're sister shows in that regard, but the links to the Patreon and everything I'll put in the show notes below, so you can check them out and consider supporting them. It's worth it. That's my pitch. But let's move into the icebreaker. I want to give you one that I think will be entertaining to hear, especially with how many platforming games you've played and will still play coming ahead in Nintendo 64 life. But you ready for an icebreaker?
Yeah.
Okay. So this, I asked this this will be, I think, the third time I've asked this, depending on when I release this recording. But this comes from Sean Douglas of Kirby Conversations and Millennium Edition, other Soundstone Network shows. But he contributed this question through Patreon, as he is a supporter of mine via Patreon, just like you can be too, where you can submit your own icebreaker questions like this. But I like this question a lot. What he asks is, what is a new platforming level theme you would want to see, and what unique challenges would a character face in that setting? So if you were to cook up like a fun, creative, like a platforming level, what's the gimmick of that level as well? Like the simple ones that I've like shared before, it's like, you know, there's always like the ice level where like the ground is slippery, or the lava level where, you know, you can't touch the lava or you instantly die, you know. Somebody, Emily from No Small Games, she suggested, Kate from No Small Games suggested like a musical note level where like when you jump off the musical notes, it makes like a song. I thought that was the coolest one, you know, and stuff. That's like the high bar for the answer so far. But yeah, is there like a fun gimmick you would like to see play out in a platforming level, and like what would that kind of be?
I played this game. What is it called? What We Do in the Multiverse, I think that's what it's called, where it's a platformer that like switches. You like press a button and it'll switch between like a different universe. And I thought that was really cool. And I think you could do kind of a similar thing with a lot of different themes. And I like when I'm just thinking about how I think using seasons is a cool gimmick in video games. So like just being able to use a similar mechanic where you could like switch the season through the platform, through the level, and use the various seasons to be able to access different areas, or like I've seen an oracle of seasons. You'll like use like plants will grow, or like ice will form, or there will be different amounts of water. But I think that would be cool, just to manipulate the environment to change how you're traversing through the level.
That could be really cool.
Yeah.
Now, like like if you need like climb a tree, but it's like too lush and overgrown, switch it to fall, and it's like just the dead branches to climb up somewhere high. Or if there's like a fire or a hazard, like somehow trigger it to go to like winter so that it's snowing and puts out the fire, or cross the water that's previously impenetrable. That could be a cool thing. There's a whole game right there idea that's free for somebody. I ask that you only just maybe circle back with us and let us be involved with it and get a little, get at least $1 out of it, just give us $1. No, that's cool. I like that. The seasons, like it almost, I played a Guacamelee. It's a really cool, like side-scrolling Metroidvania style, like beat 'em up-y feeling thing. But there's you get an ability where you trigger between like the dead world and like the land of the living and stuff like that, and that will change like some of the terrain and some of the environments and all that stuff, but you can do it at any time just by pressing a button, and it just like instantly flashes and toggles back and forth between the two. So I can almost envision like being able to cycle through the seasons by just hitting, a button just to cycle through it really quickly, and then in real time you just see it all change and everything. That could be really cool. We need to do a game concept and game idea podcast. That's what needs to happen next, where we just cook up some ideas and let somebody make them, and then we can play them. But okay, well, let's move into the main topic. That's the point of the show. People aren't here to listen to our pitches. People aren't here to listen to us beg for $1. People want to hear us answer the episode prompt. So like I said at the top, this is a new one, and this is one of the earliest times we're going to actually have it be answered. So I'm really excited to hear this. But for this question, it's thinking about how you interact with games outside of gaming. So do you interact with games outside of playing them? What other ways do you stay involved with a hobby, whether that's reading, writing, talking about them, drawing, etc.? Like, what is that way that you interact with games outside of playing them, McKenna?
So I do a lot of things. I think I already talked about Flashback 64, and I'm also involved with Zelda Dungeon, and have been involved with Zelda Dungeon in multiple ways. I started out doing social media for them. Zelda Dungeon is a Legend of Zelda fan website, if you're not familiar. So I was helping out on their Facebook page, and then I did a little bit of work on their wiki pages, and currently I am I'm on the YouTube channel, which Goo also does, and we have another person who does videos with us. We'll just talk about various Zelda topics. We're current vibe ranking all of the Zelda games. We
On
kind
brand.
of have a unique group of subjects that we're ranking. But yeah, a very subjective ranking. So no one can complain. I'm sure no one will.
Yeah, I mean, it won't cause any discourse if it's just, a vibe ranked chart of, the most annoying NPCs. But so when did you first get started with the Zelda Dungeon like group? Like when did that first start happening for you? Like how long have you been participating involved in that space?
I joined in 2019 after just being a fan for a couple years. So I was on Facebook group for a couple years. In 2020, I went to the Zelda Dungeon Marathon, which is a week-long charity event. We'll do usually a different charity every year, and we just play through the Zelda games 24/7 for a week, doing various gimmicks. It'll be races, but they'll all have something a little different going on, whether it's you have a partner and you like hand off the controller after every donation, or there are elimination points in a race, so it eventually just ends up being one person. Sometimes they're just like straight up speed runs by people who actually do speed running. Most of us are not speed runners. We just get in and do goofy gimmicks. But yeah, that's almost 7 years, which is pretty wild.
Yeah, well, how did what made you like make the change from being just like a fan of Zelda games to then finding this community of like-minded individuals to then like, because I mean, I think that's a very common thing. I think a lot of people could understand is, you know, finding something you love, finding that that like group or that game or that like that arena, you know, in gaming, where you have your little like a community to like interact with each other, talk about things and share those things. But it's a whole other level to then take that to like putting on charity events, to do it annually, to have like dedicated YouTube channels and like be involved from like the community management side of things. Like, I don't think a majority of people even know, you know, what that level of dedication and commitment it kind of like takes. So what inspired you to do that? Like, what was the thing that was like, you know what, I should stop being just a fan or just stop being somebody posting about this and actually getting involved? And like, what did that look like for you?
I think I had just gotten in the couple years before, I had gotten much more into video games in general, and you know, I liked talking to a lot of people online about video games, and you know, I knew probably more about Zelda than like anybody else I knew in person. So just like finding that that online community was really nice. It's just nice to be with a whole group of people who are thinking about these things as much as you, and encouraging you and bringing forth other ideas that, you know, you might not have thought of. Sometimes I will get on a topic and just like really want to get into it, like super focus on it. And I think that happened with Zelda and kind of video games in general too. Is maybe around the same time I also started my own blog, which I don't have anymore, but I was doing some of my own writing as well. I think also that was around the time I finished college, so I was just looking for more things to do after college. I've kind of I think of myself as kind of a forever student. I always like to learn more about things, so I just seek out those sources, kind of put my own spin on things as well too.
Yeah, that's I've like the more and more like I've gotten down like rabbit holes of like my own interests and my own hobbies, like I realize that most people don't do that. Most people are like highly entertained with leaving it like on the surface and just like, hey, this is a video game. Like this is supposed to entertain me. I was entertained by it. Great, I'm going to move on to the next thing. But like I then am like looking at like, well, who developed this? And like, you know, who are those people? What game did they make before this? What game did they make after this? Why did they choose to do this in this game for this mechanic, but instead change it into this one? You know, like what did they say in this interview about this? Was there something they wanted to do, but instead they got here? And I realize I am like not the, you know, quote unquote normal type person when it comes to like that type of stuff. Like you get like you fall into these things like pretty heavily when you become like a big fan of these things. So like I get you know, why you do what you do, like with the Zelda Dungeon group and all those folks, which is really cool. I've watched some of the marathon streams in the last couple of years as you guys have participated in them as well. And it just seems like a really cool thing to do. Obviously, anything for charity is a plus and a positive as well too. So it's very selfless to do things like that, to put your hobby up on display and be able to, you know, do something entertaining with it that also gives back as well. With your love of Zelda, have there been other games or franchises that like have, you know, gotten close to like having that same level of like, you know, love or, you know, even borderline obsession like with the franchise like you have with Zelda? Or are there games you've played recently that you feel like, oh wow, like I want more of this and this could be something that I can see myself getting, like, you know, falling down a rabbit hole in?
There are definitely maybe some genres like I've definitely really gotten into kind of the survival sandbox genre with like Core Keeper, Minecraft, Terraria that I've really gotten into. And I think those just those games, each of those games on their own are very easy to fall into a rabbit hole because they have so much complexity in the things that they're doing. Like there's kind of a surface level, but then there's also a lot of complexity in their mechanics. Same with like, I'd say like a Stardew Valley, which I think I realized I liked more because it has some of that sandbox element to it beyond it just being a farming life sim. But yeah, I'm not sure about series. I was really into the Jack and Daxter games when I was younger, but that series has ended. So
for now, who knows?
For now, yeah,
maybe come back anytime.
Maybe they'll come back. Yeah, I think there's maybe potential for me to go down a rabbit hole of something else, but for now, I think Zelda takes
right now. You got enough on your plate with Zelda,
okay. And that's yeah.
Well, I'd like to ask a little bit then about how like Flashback got started for you. Like, what were the things that kind of pulled you to like have an interest to like play in the unknown of the Nintendo 64 world? But I guess actually, wait, before we transition off Zelda, what was the first? I guess vibes. What's the best vibes Zelda game in your opinion? Like the game that gives off the best vibes for you. That's vibe coded for McKenna. What would you say is number one if you had to put a bullet point on that one?
It's probably Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it connects with. It's just the fact that I love being out in nature. And I get that same feeling playing Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, it's a lot more freedom, a lot more. I mean, it has that sandbox of it all. So Breath of the Wild would be the one that you think vibes wise for you is the one that just stands out the most for, you know, you're not necessarily saying it's your favorite, but it's the one that is, you know, more your vibe than any of the other games in the series at this point.
Yes. Yeah.
Who knows what the future holds for Zelda? You know, there could be another one that outdoes it. But then, yeah, to circle back on Flashback, you all have been doing that now for almost 3 years. Like that's your podcast to like continue to just, you know, again, thinking outside of gaming, like how you're involved in that. Like you've been putting this out in a weekly way for like over 3 years now, right?
Yes.
or been about that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, how did that start for you? Like, what was the when the idea was decided between you and Goo? Like, what was the driving reason for you to be excited to like jump in and playing like the Nintendo 64 library as somebody who didn't have a lot of experience with that system specifically? Like, what was the excitement for you to do that?
I definitely have a lot of just like historical interests in this kind of stuff. I kind of bringing it back to Zelda for a second is I played through the Zelda games in release order to see how they developed over time and seeing how things developed from kind of everybody doing something different as they're figuring out how to work in a 3D environment and kind of starting to converge in a more streamlined, like, this is how we do 3D. And, I can also see certain series as they started or continued on the N64. And then, we're also looking at previous consoles, taking a look forward at some of the consoles, seeing how things changed. It's been exciting to see how they figured this stuff out. And it's like a totally different world of 3D than it is now.
Yeah. That early era, yeah, like where there was no rhyme or reason. You weren't emulating what came before because you were doing it for the first time then. So you're trying to like create the foundation or like find a blueprint. And sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. But that was what was really unique. I think that's why people still love, like, even looking back and playing it, even if they weren't around in that era when it first happened, it is still very much approachable because it was just a lot of like unknown and Wild West type of things. And things, you could almost make the argument that games have become more formulaic now. And so it is quite rewarding to like go back and play it when there were like no real like rules or boundaries. And, it may not be the perfect game, but it has some cool like mechanics or some kind of cool, interesting systems in play that are just entertaining for those reasons alone that you just don't see in like a modern game, or at least in a modern like AAA type of game. But cool. What to kind of put a bow on it all then, I would say, what are you looking forward to in Flashback, in your podcast, and in hosting a show, like looking back at gaming, but also like remembering it and having those good vibes out of this series. Looking forward, what are you excited about in the coming like year or two of the show? Are there games that you're excited about? Is there new like show types or new things that you're going to do with the show itself that you guys have been playing around with? Like, what's new and exciting in Flashback 64 that you're looking forward to?
Well, we're in 1998 right now, so we do have a lot of the big games coming up. We have Ocarina of Time coming up, which I'm really excited to talk about because that was my first Zelda game. We got Turok 2 coming up, which I'm excited about because I think Goo is excited about it.
Seeds of Evil.
Yes, yeah. I think I'm excited about that because it was like one of our early like first person kind of platforming games. I'm excited to see how it's changed or not. I'm excited for, I don't know what we're doing for winter, but I'm always excited.
So you have not decided what games you'll be playing for that, but I like that. I like the way that you all have like spun off some just interesting ways to kind of like take a break from, or just in addition to have like that side content. Like I said, the PlayStation content and now the Flashback 8 stuff. It's I like the way that it's evolving beyond just the Nintendo 64. So yeah, I'm just excited as a listener to see what's coming up. But what do you think, or what do you want to play for the next winter season?
Trying to remember. I suggested. I don't know if this is going to happen, but I keep suggesting My Sims.
Yeah, I remember My Sims, but I don't know if I ever actually played it. But I like the Wii era. The Wii era is a good era of games to be in. But cool. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Well, I will put in the show notes below, obviously a link to the show, obviously Flashback being a Soundstone Network show. You already hear ads during my show anyway for it. But thank you, McKenna, for jumping on solo and sharing, just your connection to your life outside of gaming, like Zelda Dungeon and putting together the podcast and everything. It's really interesting to hear. And I like this new question. So again, thanks for jumping on. Anything you want to plug, promote, or share before we wrap up?
Just Flashback 64. We talked. Gu always does the Flashback 64 plug, so I'm like, how do I do this now? You've got the link. I'm on Blue Sky at McLiz. That's pretty much. I'm on Instagram, but I'm mostly doing Blue Sky.
Sounds good. Well, give a follow. Listen to Flashback. Go to their Patreon. Don't be weird. Okay, just pay the people what they demand and what they deserve. But all right. Well, thank you, McKenna, for jumping on the show. That's what we've got for this episode.
Thanks for having me.
If you all want to check out more previous episodes, you can go back in the catalog and listen to episodes with both Gu and McKenna way early back. If you go into last year, there'll be more in the future as well, of course. Come back again next week. New episodes every Friday, of course, in the main feed. You can get early episodes if you do support my Patreon for $1. It's easy. Just do it. And that's what I got for y'all. Have a great rest of your afternoon. McKenna, thank you again, and see y'all next week.
Listen to Flashback 64, the chronological Nintendo 64 podcast. Hosts Gooey, McKenna, and friends flashback to the 90s and early 2000s with a look at the Nintendo 64's catalog and its contemporary cultural and historical context. Starting with the console's launch titles and proceeding in release order, we discuss classics like GoldenEye, Super Mario 64, and Star Fox 64, as well as some not-so-beloved games, lesser-known titles, and everything in between. Along with game-specific deep dives, we also cover other bits of pop culture from the time, like films, music, and more. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.